for the people that are playing it. Let me back up here. I don't want to miss anybody's messages. Kiki writes, I disagree with Tracy. Hell, many of the games we played was off the chain unsafe. We used to do all that kind of stuff, man. Mess with stray dogs. Throw sticks at stray dogs. The dogs would chase you, and you would just barely get over the fence. Rawr, rawr, right before his jaws snap on the fence. Yeah, we do all that. We laughing. One member of the crew's too fat and slow to get over there, and the dog grabs his leg and rips his shoe off. We're all just cracking up laughing. That's what kids do, man. That's what we do. That's what boys do. I remember one time it was like a torrential rainstorm, and I might be overplaying that, but it was a really, really bad rainstorm for a couple of days. And at this point, like I told you before, I was a Section 8 kid. Okay, so I lived in Forest Park, Section 8. I lived in Green Hills, Section 8, and lived all over the city in different spots because of Section 8. And I will tell you that I've always thought that was a very interesting experience. Because what it did is allow people to get away from the projects that were in the inner city with that Section 8 program. And it allowed us to interact with people in school systems that ordinarily I never would have got a chance to because moms by herself just couldn't afford it. I always thought it was a spectacular program on some levels. But so we're living out in Green Hills on a street called Sarbrook. Okay, I'll tell you the street. Lived on it for many years. A lot of fond memories. A lot of good times on that street growing up as a kid. And there is a river bed, like a creek bed, behind, in a wooded area that was not too far from our house. I mean, essentially all we had to do was like walk across the street, cut through the neighbor's yard. And that was a time where we knew everybody on the street. Like literally in those times in that neighborhood, I'm not exaggerating this. I'm 16, 17, 18, somewhere around there. I'll take that back. I'm like 14, 15, 16, 17, like those years. And literally, we fall asleep with the door wide open. Screen door shut, not locked. Front door wide open. Back door wide open. It was an everyday thing because we knew everybody. We felt safe. It was different times then. You could only be so lucky to raise your family on a street like that. I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? You want that lifestyle where you don't have to look over your shoulder, where you look out for your neighbor. They look out for you. If you're on vacation, you tell them, they house sit for you. I mean, we had those kind of relationships as kids anywhere. My mom was sort of like, I don't know these damn people. Stay out of my business. But that's how Chairman Mom was, right? But anyway, let me get back to my point here. My point is I'm telling you a story about how dangerous you can be and the dangerous things you do as children. So we go down to this creek a few days after it's been raining. And I mean, the creek, man, listen, it was a pool. And we actually played in that dirty ass water, swam in it, played Can You Drown Me, dunking people, the whole 9 yards in this dirty ass water. Now, looking back, I'm thinking that was not smart because anything could have happened. I remember we tried to get out and we tried to go up this hill. It was full of mud. And we got crazy muddy, sliding back in. We literally could not get out of the water. It was so dangerous, to the point where here you are up to your neck in water, literally, and your feet are stuck in the mud at the bottom of this little creek and pond. That's dangerous. And we did that like it was nothing. Any one of us could have drowned back there. And if something would have happened, you know what the kids would have done? They would have ran home, left the body there, ran through the woods and try to go home and tell your mom. By the time you get back, it's over. And that's the kind of stuff that kids do all the time. It's dangerous out there. Junior writes, I think I read that. My son said, this morning, yes, they are in Lower Price Hill. He sees them at work all the time. And I think it's the unpredictability about it as well. Like you could be on your device and like a Pokemon shows up close to you. So it's like, oh, a Pokemon's here, I guess. Pamela writes, I was doing research and listening down the dial. They had a heavy conversation about the game. Somebody said that while they were shopping at Jungle Gyms, 5 people bumped into them. Also, they said people were like zombies wandering around in the middle of the parking lot. That's right. Trying to get that Pokemon. And then as I understand it, once you get the Pokemon, it's a Pokemon that's in your roster of Pokemon. And then you can battle other people with your Pokemon. And I hope that's not a gratuitous usage of Pokemon. Are we going to touch up all the Pokemon players? I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. I'll tell you one man who I think should be nominated for Gilligan of the Week. You ready for it?
Sheriff David Clark of the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office.
This guy.
Great to see you, Sheriff. So,
it's not great to hear you.
The message that it's we need to get guns out of the hands of folks like this. But this guy had no record. He was a vet. He was an Army vet. And I don't know. The rhetoric's bad, but I don't know that it caused this guy's behavior.
Megan, I'm sorry, but I'm still trying to make sense out of that babble that was coming out of the mouth of Jesse Jackson. He was talking about weapons that can bring down airliners. He's talking about surface-to-air missiles. Those aren't on the streets in the United States of America. Mm-hmm. That was a pathetic display of what he did. But look at the situation that we face right now. We have some very irresponsible...
That man's a damn fool. He goes on to say that basically Black Lives Matter is some kind of terrorist group and they're all to blame for this. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Any police department, any of the officials, any of the chiefs who are not seriously, if I was the chief of police, I would be proactive. I wouldn't be reactive. Real leadership is proactive, not just react. I mean, you want to react to the demands of your audience or your constituents or whoever you represent. I get it. But you want to be proactive. So here's what I mean. Rather than arguing about Black Lives Matter and whether they are trying to vilify police officers, if you're the chief of police, if you're the mayor, and perhaps this is why John Cranley has said he's going to do this, they should be reviewing their engagement policies. They should be instituting more policies if there's not already in place. If you got a police department that maybe hasn't been touched by a scandal and they don't have a collaborative process in their history, and so they don't have a use of force policy, they don't have a policy on when the body cam video is going to be made for the public, they don't have a policy on, they should create a policy. Do it now. That's what leadership does. Take this opportunity to put these things in place so that if it does happen with one of your officers at your police department or in your police department, you've already got your bases covered. How simple is that? To not do that is the height of arrogance. To not do that is the height of stupidity. And, downright, I don't respect any police chief that's not in the business of doing that right now. That's what they should be doing. If you're the chief of police and your police department has not been touched by scandal, it's not enough to make a public statement denouncing Black Lives Matter. It's not enough. You're not protecting your police officers. Institute some reforms. Perhaps look at the Cincinnati model of the collaborative agreement and set up the systems right now before the problem starts. If you don't already have a healthy Citizens Complaint Authority, and again, I don't know if that was brought up in yesterday's meeting. If I was there, that's what I would have brought up. Yeah, I got you. But for so many years, the Citizens Complaint Authority basically has been underfunded. It doesn't have the proper number of investigators. The caseload is behind what the collaborative says it should be. Let's put some money to make sure that process works the way it's supposed to. Why? Because when something happens, then instead of maybe hitting the streets or taking a shot at a police officer or going to the media, people will go through these systems that are already in place. Now that's leadership for you. That's the way a real leader should be thinking right now if you're working in law enforcement. You shouldn't be resisting this and my officers are better than that and you haven't walked a mile in my shoes and we're the law enforcement professionals. You're right about all of that. You're right, law enforcement, but it's not helping you. It's not serving you. Set up a collaborative, set up these best practices, put the system in place so that people can feel as if when they have an issue, they can deal with it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. If people feel like there's a system in place where their issues can be addressed, they're going to be less likely to hit the streets and riot and tear ish up. You know it and I know it. Good morning, Angela. Beautiful picture. Beautiful family. Great people. Man, there's so many great people in this city. I'm just telling you, I'm just blessed. And I'm just blessed to have made connections with a lot of good people in this city. Very blessed. And I know it. And thank you very much. Angela writes, I was out shopping with the family the other day, and this young boy walked up to my husband and said, "Congratulations, Pokemon Go." We were stuck like, what the hell? I know you were. But listen, I'd rather see people out enjoying themselves playing a game than doing something reckless and stupid. Like I told you, I'd much rather see groups of people on my block looking at their phones, searching for Pokemon, than searching for that heroin, searching for that dog. That's just me. Now, you're right. Both of them have like a zombie-like stare, right? Because one is hooked up on this game and the other is hooked up on these drugs, which is a game in and of itself. Shannon writes, I think I read that already. Yeah. That is deep, Shannon. Hey, Shannon, can you send me a link to that? I want to check that out. Okay, I'm just reading your message, Tracy, from Facebook. Good to hear. Man, listen, when I hear people being successful and happy, that makes me happy. Especially the people that I touch, with this show. That makes me happy. I want you to be successful. I want your families to be successful. I want your business endeavors to be successful. That's what I'm all about. Good morning and welcome back. And glad to have you. Are you going to be out and about? Will you be attending any of the events this weekend? I'm talking about many events, including events that are surrounding the congressional black or legislative. Let me get this right. The Ohio Legislative Black Caucus. They're having a convention. The awards gala is here in Cincinnati. It's tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. And if you're looking for more information, just go to Alicia Reese's page on Facebook. She's got all the information. I understand she's a part of spearheading this. If you've never met or got a chance to see Vernon Jordan in action, he'll be speaking on Saturday. He's the keynote speaker, 7:30 p.m. at the OLBC convention in the city of Cincinnati. The OLBC president rep is Alicia Reese. And the convention 2016 chair is Rep. Christine Coombs. Both fine people that care about the community. So, again, if you're interested, check it out. If you need me to, I can post a link. You can check it out for yourself. And I'm going to try, again, it's going to be a busy weekend for me as I make this transition up to the RNC to report back to you. But I'm going to try to make sure I show my face at least one of the events. And then go up to the RNC on Monday, possibly Tuesday, and then come back here to Cincinnati for the NAACP convention. I want to be everywhere. And again, keep in mind, we can take this show anywhere. As long as we can get a connection, get a line to the internet, it's all good. So perhaps you've got an event. Perhaps you've got something that you want people to know about. Think about the Nathan Ivey Show as an option. Absolutely. We'll help you. Akeem writes, Candy Crush is a hell of an addiction. Really? I don't know. Monique writes, yes, bottled water, y'all, and I'm stocked up. I mean, I'm more into the distilled water than I am natural spring water because of how I understand the distilled water process to be. I could be completely wrong about that. Something tells me we're all wrong. But, you should have about, I'd say, 10 or 20 gallons of water stored somewhere in your house. That's right, 10 to 20 gallons of water stored. You do not need food. You can get away with not eating food for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks maybe. But let's say something happens and you're locked in your home and you have no water. What are you going to do? Well, you can go outside. You have some cans upside down or some water that collected in some containers in your backyard. You going to drink that water? Have at it. No. So make sure you've got those emergency supplies. Absolutely. John writes, my boy is 10, even though he looks like a teen, 5'7", 125 pounds, and he loved the Pokemon. Honestly, it made our trip to the zoo more fun because as we walked from the exhibit to exhibit, he collected the game and the zoo landmarks were highlighted inside the game. I thought it was dumb until I shared it with my boy. I mean, listen, depending on what your product or service is, if you could somehow, think about this. All these people are playing Pokemon. What if you could determine that Pokemon are going to be at your work site and maybe you got something, a business or something that you're selling. Maybe you are like a game store or something like that. So, that sort of fits the audience. and then you got a Pokemon that's in your particular store, and then when you get that Pokemon, maybe it gives you a discount. Maybe it gives you something that it unlocks or something like that. I mean, there's a lot